What's going on, YouTube? Dorito here with Bucket, and Luch is up stuck in the snow right now. So today we figured we'd go ahead and put together this Tao Motor Rock 110 Kids Atv. Now, what this thing consists of is it's 110cc. It's got forward and reverse. It's a little bit different than the Boulder. The Boulder doesn't have reverse, whereas you just start it, gas it, and go, where this one has neutral, forward, and reverse. So it's really, really cool. So it does also have the remote shut off, just like the Boulder does as well too. But this has the isolated engine cradle. So what that means is there's an engine cradle that's separate from the frame, and it has rubber bushings where it bolts up. Okay, so that reduces the vibration and stuff like that. Makes it a lot smoother ride for your kiddos. So anyways, it's real easy to put together. You put on the bars, you put on the wheels, you put on the front bumper, you put on the back rack, you connect the battery, and you're ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. And it only takes a few basic tools that Bucket's holding over there. And we're going to slap it together and get it done real quick. So let's get on with it. All right, guys, we're back. And I went ahead and I put the backside tires on. In other words, I put the front right tire on, or the front left tire, and I put the rear left tire on just to save time on video, because this is the side we're building from. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to go ahead and put these wheels on, put the handlebars, put the rack, and put the front bumper on, and get this done quick for you guys so you see how easy this is. Okay, so first, more importantly, with the caliper on here, what you want to do is there's a little slot on here, and I took a picture and I'll put it down there on a picture there, and there's a little slot over here. You want to take this and you want to slide it in, and you want to line it up, okay? And you'll see the picture as well, how it's supposed to look after it's lined up. All right, and then after that, you go ahead and remove your cotter pin, your castle nut, and your flat washer, and you go ahead and just slide your wheel in. Now, these are directional tires, and they'll have a little arrow pointing on them the direction they should roll, okay? So you want to make sure and get that right and get both the side on both right sides. You want to slide that on, and then you want to just give it a little work there. Go ahead and rip your flat washer on, your castle nut, and hold on to your cotter pin for the time being until you lower it down and go ahead and tighten up your wheel, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go over to the back here now and get that on there. Thank you, Bucket. Let's scoot on over here. We'll move the rack, hold the rack for me, will you, Bucket? Thank you, Bucket. All right. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and get that on there. Hold this for me, Bucket, okay? You okay over there? All right. Okay. All right. Get that on. Slide it on in. Bam. Voila. Done. You take your flat washer. Put your flat washer on there. You tighten up your castle nut. And then you're going to be putting your cotter pin on as well when you lower it. Okay? So let's go ahead and get that lowered and tighten up the tires. Ready to get it, Bucket? Okay. Okay, now that you got everything lined up, you want to go ahead and shove your cotter pin on through. Give her a fold over. A lot of people like to trim them. Like I said, you're going to want to go through this, and you're going to want to loosen up, tighten up the castle nuts again afterwards. So it's your call if you want to trim these or not. You can literally put your rubber hub right on over it. Wham, bam, done. Okay? So now... Okay, so there you go. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and put on the back rack and the front bumper, and we'll get it done. So we'll get right back to you. All right. All right, guys, me and Bucket are back, and now we're basically onto the front bumper, which is real easy. It's 4 10mm bolts that go into the frame. I'll put a picture on the picture where it's supposed to be, and you basically need to remove your 4 10mm bolts. Doesn't want to come up right there. You basically want to get those out. and then you'll put on your rack. Okay? Now the top is where the reflectors are, and you're going to put the reflectors back on over the bumper on each of these sides when you go to place it on, okay? And take your rack, one bolt on the bottom, one bolt on the bottom of the right side of the bumper. So you want to use the shorter bolts for the top, you want to use the longer bolts for the bottom, okay? And again, your reflector on your 10mm bolt, that'll go into the top, okay? Let's get this scoot over here so we can slide it in. Give it a little tap. And that's going to go, you're going to want to mount that upward so it's got that reflector working for you, okay? Now this thing is really cool. This is a 2022 Rock 110cc Atv. It is a little bit more sporty than the Bolter. There's a lot of similarities on these, of course, but this color is awesome. It does have the forward and reverse. It's got this blacked out front piece with a different LED light. We haven't started it up yet. I don't know too much about these, except for the new color schemes are awesome. They got that isolated engine cradle. Everything, the chain is real easily adjustable. It's a really kid-friendly and, you know, if you got a toolbox friendly ATV, it doesn't take a rocket scientist for one of these. This thing would be great for your kid to learn on and to learn how to wrench on as well too. So you can check out a lot of the new Tao Motor stuff coming out, and we'll put a picture of the new Tao Motor products at the end of the video. So keep your eye out there. If there's something you guys like, something you guys want to see us build, maybe make a comment. Let us know. We'll see if we can build it. As far as Tao Motors, we'll definitely try. All right. So anyways, let's get this going here. Zigged when I should have zagged. All right, guys, now we're on to the back rack, and Bucket's going to go ahead and help me out a little bit with this one here by holding my tools and handing me my bolts. But I just want to let you guys know, on the back rack, in order to put this back rack into the mount on the back, there is also a bolt that goes into that same mount that holds up your exhaust, and that's a 10mm on one side and a 13mm on that. You will need to remove that bolt and slide it out so you can put the rack in. So that'll be the first bolt you want to get. And all these bolts are 10mm bolts on one end and 13mm lock nuts. So you won't need any Loctite on these as well either. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that on right now. And the first one, of course, is going to be the initial bolt that was on the exhaust. That one's going to be a little bit harder and trickier to get. As you guys can see, there's nothing to the assembly on this. The 2022 models are really, really easy. They're very user-friendly and everything like that. Now, keep in mind, you have a stronger warranty if you have this assembled by a professional. You can do it yourself. That's what we're here for. We're here to show you guys how easy it is to go ahead and assemble these. But, you know, there's a checklist. You got to go over it. You got to go over all the bolts. You got to check everything and everything like that. And Tao Motor, as far as when it comes to warranties and stuff like that, they're pretty darn good. You got to reach out to your dealer, go through them, and they'll take care of you. And all the dealers, they're pretty darn good too. They're directed to handle the customers. So, you know, this is becoming a better and better product year by year. And I completely like them. Luch likes them. We all like them. We have a blast on them, as you guys have seen. Okay, so I just want you guys to know this is a good product. They're getting better and better. Okay, and as far as the assembly, you guys can see it's simple as that. All right, so we got those four on. Okay, now that we got that, what you do is you loosen up these two 10mm bolts a little bit. These are your supports for your rear rack. Okay, loosen those up a little bit, and you're going to get your other 10mm bolts with 13mm with the 13mm nuts, and you're going to mount those as well too. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip this guy around how it's supposed to be. Get her set in there. All right, so you got your front bumper on, you got your front rack on, 10mm bolt, 13mm lock nuts. All right, so now we're going to get on to putting on the handlebars, and then we'll connect the battery. Okay, so I'll go ahead and switch sides, and we'll get the handlebars on right now. All right. All right, people, we're back to my kryptonite, the handlebars. Luch loves messing with me when I do this, so we're going to go ahead and go for it, and I'm going to try and get these things on, and hopefully not make too much of a fool of myself. I always, constantly have a hard time putting on bars. So here we go. It's 4 bolts and four clamps, okay? And then you got a mount on top of this clamp that is going to hold your gear indicator, okay? So what you need to do is you need to grab one side first, and this is where Luch always teases me. And you go ahead and flip the bar up, okay? Now after you got the bar flipped up, you put that there. Now you grab one of your tops for that side, okay? And you're going to want to get that bolt in there. Now I would get them both on at one time, but because of the mount, I have to go ahead and do that a little later, okay? Perfect. Okay, so we got that one on. Now you want to get the bottom of this side. Do the same thing. Now, when you do all that, you got to make sure and not put any of your lines or your wires or anything like that behind the bars, okay? So that's super important there. All right, now we'll go ahead and flip the bars forward here. Got those on there. Now this is the side with the mount. Now the mount is going to have 2 8mm bolts that go into the side here of this mount, and this mount is going to go right there, just like that, as an indicator, okay? All right, now that you got your clamp and your bolt situated, and you got your bars on there and situated, what you want to do is you want to adjust them to about where you want them. And we're going to put them a little bit forward because bigger people riding them, you know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and set that, and we'll use the cordless to initially get them a little tight, but we'll snug them up because it is aluminum, so you have to be careful with that on the clamps. They are aluminum, even though it's steel you're bolting into, and it's a steel bolt. You don't want to get all crazy, okay? Get your 10mm wrench, and you want to tighten them all down, okay? All right. Really love this purple. Okay, so on to your little mount here, okay? Now that's going to go and that's going to connect down inside. You'll see where you connect it to down there, and that's going to be your gear indicator, okay? So we'll get that connected in a minute, but we'll get this put on in there, and that's going to be a 8mm bolt on each side. You're going to want to pull those out. A little better than it locking up on me. All right, so there you go. Got the bars mounted, all right? So now what we got to do is we got to connect the battery, then put some gas in it, we'll give it a fire up. So let's go ahead and connect the battery. You guys have seen this many times before, but we're going to go ahead and pull the seat and show you guys where the battery is located on this. And you just pull the lever here, pull your seat out, you got your battery right there. And it's the typical positive negative connection, red to red, black to black, bam, there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the battery, and I'm going to reach underneath there and go ahead and connect the gear indicator as well too. So I'll get right back to you guys. I'll get some fuel into this and we'll give it a fire up, okay? Okay guys, we're back. And you know, Bucket suggested that we went ahead and brought in my daughter's Boulder and compared it to the Rock. But what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and give it a start, as usual, so you guys can see it, and show you a couple of the features it has after we shut it off and compare it to the Boulder, okay? So let's go ahead and show you guys here. You turn on the key, got it in neutral, hit your brake, hit your gas. Easy peasy, okay? So you can shut it off with the key, but if your kids are out there riding, you can also shut it off with your remote shut off, just like the Boulder as well. Okay, so but also too, the one thing this has that the boulder doesn't have is you got a low beam and you got a high beam. Okay, so that's one cool thing about it. You have the emergency shut off lanyard as well. Let's go ahead and shut this off. All right. You have the emergency shut off lanyard as well, just like you do on the boulder. So here we go here. We got the emergency shut off with the lanyard, okay, on both of those, the boulder and the rock. We also have the remote shut off on the boulder and the rock as well. We also have the throttle limiter as well too on both of them. And now the differences between these is this has, the rock has neutral, forward and reverse, where opposed to the boulder is just start it up, give it gas and go. Okay, the brake setup is the same. The engine cradle, however, is different. You have the 110cc with an isolated engine cradle that actually is bolted up through rubber grommets as well. So that keeps the vibration down a lot on these. Really makes a difference. So, and with the boulder, you don't have the isolated engine cage. So there is a few differences there. My daughter really likes her boulder. We're going to check out this rock. I really like the color of it. I know my son's going to like the color of it too. He's a little bit too small to get on these for now. But we're going to take this out and check it out and do some comparisons to the boulder as much as we possibly can. So anyways, overall, for bang for your buck, I think these are both great four-wheelers to get your kids into riding, and you can keep everything kind of under control, you know. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank Bucket for all his help, seeing as Luch was up there, and, you know, all the other guys are busy. And keep your eye out for that, too. We're going to have some news coming soon. So I want to thank Tao Motors for giving us the opportunity to build these things and bring them to you guys. So anyways, thanks for watching Dorito and Luch Cabre, and don't forget to come back to the Luch Mob. Peace.